Mr. Stevens, any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Liss?
Yes. Considering how much deficit spending we're going into, I'd like to table this, and I'll tell you why. I'd like to talk with Mr. Miller and see if he can adjust his fee down a little bit. I know a lot of professional people who've done that. Mr. Howard Schiffman has done that with his agreements to represent cities on labor issues, and other attorneys have done that with representation before the tax tribunal for municipalities. So I'm moving to table this for 2 weeks.
Motion to table by Mr. Liss. Item dies due to lack of support. Now we return to the main motion by Mr. Sadowski and support by Mr. Stevens. Any other discussion? I just want to make one comment. For me, and this has been since 2005, the fundamental reason why I've opposed this position. To me, it's a fundamental problem in government as a whole. To have a lobbyist for the city of Warren or any, whether it be company or other community, to have them lobby as if though we are going to get more than our share or extra consideration. I do not believe in that philosophy, and even though we happen to be the big fish in Macomb County because we're the largest size and the third largest city in the state, I don't believe in the principle that we should get any more because Centerline is, than Centerline, say, based on their size, or because maybe they don't choose to spend what funds they have to have a lobbyist. We have state representatives. They are based on the population so that there is fair representation in Lansing, and I believe it should be done amongst those that are elected to do that job and keep it a fair playing field, whether it's municipality versus municipality or take it up to the federal level and it's state against state. Everybody should be given a fair representation, and that is why I have opposed this item all along and will continue in the fact that it promotes a fundamental problem, in my opinion, of how government is operated. With that, I'll call the question. Mr. Sadowski?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
Ms. Vogt?
Yes.
Mr. Warner?
Yes.
Mr. Bacamino?
Yes.
Ms. Comartin?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Liss?
Yes.
Camp, no. The item passed 8-1.
Item 12B from the Treasurer's Office, because the budget had been passed and the individual had been left in the office, this item is almost a moot point. So there is no contract that needs to be exercised at this point. So we can remove this from the agenda. Also, item 12C.
Would it be just easier to make a motion to deny?
Just so that we have
can
a
do that.
record,
Yeah,
I
we can do
believe.
that. That's fine.
There's no
mo-
motion, it just
Died like
It just
support.
dies for
died
lack of support.
support.
True. All right, so item 12B is, has died for lack of support.
The next item, item 12C, was asked to be removed from the agenda by the officer from the police department. Next item, 12D, Ramey E. Phillips Jr., CPA, in-ray report of audit of City of Warren employees' retirement, health, life, and disability benefits plan, and trust annual financial report for calendar year ended December 31st, 2010.
Need a motion and support for item 12D?
Motion to receive and file.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Liss, support by Ms. Comartin to receive and file. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Next agenda item is 12E, Ramey E. Phillips, Junior CPA, in Ray, request of audit of employees' retirement system, defined benefits plan, annual financial report for calendar year ended December 31st, 2010.
Motion to receive and file.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Green, support by Ms. Comartin. Was there any discussion on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to receive and file? Those opposed? The item is passed unanimously.
Item number 13 is audience participation.
Thank you. Want to remind the audience that we do have a new audio system. I've been advised that it does pick up in great detail, so hopefully we can keep our comments within federal regulations so that it's appropriate for all viewing audiences. I also want to remind the audience that there is an adopted council rule that says that speakers may only speak for 3 minutes. It's the time the timer goes off. I will ask you to conclude, and I ask you to do that as quickly as possible. With that, our first speaker is Elizabeth Lovis. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Elizabeth Levis, longtime resident of Warren, and I just want to say how thoroughly disgusted I am with this council tonight. I went to a budget meeting last week. 5 of you sat there, didn't say 2 words, looking down at papers, piddling around. Some say they took a lot of notes while their hands weren't working. You object to a line item budget, but you say you're basically working on a line item budget. Then please someone explain to me how ardently you can object to a line item budget. What is the prefix for you saying, well, we don't need it? If you're already working on one, why not make it known? We are on a line item budget that gives the legislative body of this city the authority to change what's going on in the departments. You say you get a report. Granted, you get a report, you can do nothing with that report. You have no authority to change what the departments are doing because it is a departmental budget, not a line item. You can't tell them they can't move money from one line to the other, and you can't tell them until the next budget meeting how they're going to do this. Now, this has gone on for years. I have heard and I've got the discs, if anyone would like it, of your first meeting as our council after your election. Quite a few of you were in favor of a line item budget. And all of a sudden, for some reason, you're not. I really hope, and I never thought I would stand in front of this body and say this, but I hope the 5 of you that voted for this budget don't get reelected. Not one of you, because you do not have the city of Warren in your aspects. We didn't put you in this office to make decisions that we're not good with. We put you in this office to serve the city. And you're not doing it. This line item budget for the last 3 years has been pushed off, well, maybe next year, well, maybe next year, well, maybe next year. And now we're saying again, well, we'll look at it next year. If you say you're looking at a line item budget, there is absolutely no reason for you not to implement it. None anyway that I can see. There might be a reason somewhere out there, but not to the behest of the people of the city of Warren. They want to know where every dime is spent. Every dime. And I've never been so disgusted in my life. It's amazing. And I really supported quite a few of you up there. But and we knew coming in.
Please
1,
conclude
2,
your
3,
comments.
4, 5. I'll be back at every meeting. I'm going to be writing letters. I'm going to have them published in the paper. I hope the 5 that did this.
Thank you. I need to call our next speaker.
Okay.
Our next speaker is Tammy Williams. Okay, we'll go on to the next one. Tony Volante. Maury Daniels. Good evening.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I got a few quick questions. I got 10 minutes. Let's try and get through them. I'd like to answer the people up there right now. What happened to $10,000 for the Amigos in the private session meeting, which is illegal? Did it go through? They give that $10,000 to Mr. Faust that has an abundance of a war chest? No, not of our tax dollars. No. That's out. And I think the voters gonna understand which one of you four guys did it. Next one, I've been preaching for you guys over a year and a half. Your sanitary garbage trucks, the new ones, we didn't need them. The trucks you got now are tearing our roads up. Come by and take a look at them. All you've got is a stretched out frame with 2 lift axles, front and back. It's stupid. It's got the same axles as the old trucks. Take the old truck's stretch frame, throw in the lift axle. I'd like to know what money came out on the side on that one. Private meetings, getting a little tired of your private meetings. You guys get acquitted. I got you on film. Stay the hell away from that place. I see it again, I am gonna squawk. Next question I got, how come Mr. Faust won't tell his age? $10,000, we don't need his age for $10,000, I'm paying for his own. He never served in the military. He's given all his awards out. Never once did he say he was in the military, he wasn't in the military. He never ran to England, gets his passport and scooted. And he's handing these awards to these people who served in the military. Men and women that put their life on the line. So a guy that jumped on a boat and got out of here? No, I'm sorry. I'll be hitting the VFW post. I believe it's Saturday or Sunday they got a meeting. I'll definitely be on that one. The man should not give a 10-cent award out to these people. These are military people that put their life on the line. And he give them a paper award? That's what it costs him to print that thing, $25. He ought to be ashamed of himself, but he never served, so how would he know? I got a question on the brick wall on Rio Road. It now has moved 11 3/4 inches off foundation, 17 inches off the ground. I hope you understand there's little kids playing in those backyards. Our neighborhood has changed. That wall has now moved. You gotta do one of two things. Demo it or replace it. And sure not with that suspended wall system. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Kathleen Schneeberger. Good evening.
Kathleen Schneeberger. I've been a resident of Warren for 40 years now. I was born in Detroit, Michigan, December 23rd, 1947. Not ashamed of my age.